最悪のシナリオに備えて計画を立てましょ
う。Let's make a plan for the worst case scenario. Let's make a plan for the worst case scenario.
ウィンウィンの状況を目指しましょ
う。Let's aim for a win-win situation. Let's aim for a win-win situation.
投票しましょ
う。Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote.
その問題について最新情報を教えていただけますか？
Can you give us an update on that issue? Can you give us an update on that issue?
計画をみんなが理解していることを確認しましょ
う。Let's make sure everyone understands the plan. Let's make sure everyone understands the plan.
軌道修正しましょ
う。Let's get back on track. Let's get back on track.
話題からそれないようにしましょ
う。Let's try to stay on topic. Let's try to stay on topic.
タイムラインを教えていただけますか？
Could you give us a timeline? Could you give us a timeline?
今年の予算は何ですか？
What's the budget for this year? What's the budget for this year?
要約していただけますか？
Can you give us a summary? Can you give us a summary?
このプロジェクトの成功を確保するために一緒に働きましょ
う。Let's work together to ensure the success of this project. Let's work together to ensure the success of this project.
計画を立てて、それに従いましょ
う。Let's make a plan and stick to it. Let's make a plan and stick to it.
現在の状況を教えていただけますか？
Could you give us a status update? Could you give us a status update?
状況報告をしていただけますか？
Can you give us a status report? Can you give us a status report?
このプロジェクトの状況はどうですか？
What's the status of this project? What's the status of this project?
さあ、始めましょ
う。Let's get started. Let's get started.
解決策を見つけるために一緒に働きましょ
う。Let's work together to find a solution. Let's work together to find a solution.
状況について最新情報を教えていただけますか？
Can you give us an update on the situation? Can you give us an update on the situation?
このプロジェクトの範囲は何ですか？
What's the scope of this project? What's the scope of this project?
異なるシナリオに備えた計画を立てましょ
う。Let's plan for different scenarios. Let's plan for different scenarios.
売上について最新情報を教えていただけますか？
Could you give us a sales update? Could you give us a sales update?
売上の数字について報告していただけますか？
Could you give us a report on the sales figures? Could you give us a report on the sales figures?
売上の状況はどうですか？
What's the status of our sales? What's the status of our sales?
次のアクションアイテムは何ですか？
What's the next action item? What's the next action item?
この流れを維持しましょう。
Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep the ball rolling.
すみません、聞き取れませんでした。もう一度お願いできますか？
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it, please? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it, please?
この会議の目的は何ですか？
What's the purpose of this meeting? What's the purpose of this meeting?
新しいアイデアを提案したいと思います。
I'd like to propose a new idea. I'd like to propose a new idea.
進捗状況の報告をしていただけますか？
Could you give us a progress report? Could you give us a progress report?
今日の会議のアジェンダは何ですか？
What's the agenda for today's meeting? What's the agenda for today's meeting?
このプロジェクトの進捗状況はどうですか？
What's the progress on this project? What's the progress on this project?
目標達成に向けて一緒に働きましょ
う。Let's work towards achieving our goals. Let's work towards achieving our goals.
生産の状況はどうですか？
What's the status of our production? What's the status of our production?
これらのタスクを優先しましょ
う。Let's prioritize these tasks. Let's prioritize these tasks.
潜在的な障害を特定しましょ
う。Let's identify the potential obstacles. Let's identify the potential obstacles.
申し訳ありませんが、私は異なる見方をしています。
I'm sorry, but I have a different point of view. I'm sorry, but I have a different point of view.
アクションプランを立てましょ
う。Let's make a plan of action. Let's make a plan of action.
申し訳ありませんが、それには同意できません。
I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that.
プロジェクトの概要を教えていただけますか？
Can you give us an overview of the project? Can you give us an overview of the project?
目標達成に向けて一緒に働きましょ
う。Let's work towards achieving our goals. Let's work towards achieving our goals.
どんな障害でも一緒に乗り越えましょ
Let's work together to overcome any obstacles. Let's work together to overcome any obstacles.
う。型にはまらない考え方をしましょ
Let's think outside the box. Let's think outside the box.
う。申し訳ありませんが、このアプローチについて私は異なる意見を持っています。
I'm sorry, but I have a different opinion on this approach. I'm sorry, but I have a different opinion on this approach.
この件について、あなたの意見は何ですか
What's your opinion on this matter? What's your opinion on this matter?
みんなが同じ理解を持っていることを確認しましょ
Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Let's make sure we're all on the same page.
う。この計画について、みんなが同意していることを確認しましょ
Let's make sure we're all on board with this plan. Let's make sure we're all on board with this plan.
う。目標が明確であることを確認しましょ
Let's make sure everyone is clear on the objectives. Let's make sure everyone is clear on the objectives.
う。申し訳ありませんが、異議を唱えざるを得ません。
I'm sorry, but I have to object. I'm sorry, but I have to object.
このプロジェクトの次のステップは何ですか
What's the next step in this project? What's the next step in this project?
次の四半期の予算は何ですか
What's the budget for the next quarter? What's the budget for the next quarter?
誤解を避けましょ
Let's avoid any misunderstandings. Let's avoid any misunderstandings.
う。このプロジェクトの次のマイルストーンは何ですか
What's the next milestone for this project? What's the next milestone for this project?
マーケットシェアの状況はどうですか
What's the status of our market share? What's the status of our market share?
市場の状況はどうですか
What's the status of the market? What's the status of the market?
キーファクターを特定しましょ
Let's identify the key factors. Let's identify the key factors.
う。次の項目に進みましょ
Let's move on to the next item. Let's move on to the next item.
う。問題に対処しましょ
Let's address any issues. Let's address any issues.
う。自己紹介をお願いできますか
Could you please introduce yourself? Could you please introduce yourself?
申し訳ありませんが、中断せざるを得ません。
I'm sorry, but I have to interject. I'm sorry, but I have to interject.
みんなが同意していることを確認しましょ
Let's make sure we're all in agreement. Let's make sure we're all in agreement.
改善の余地のある領域を特定しましょ
Let's identify the areas for improvement. Let's identify the areas for improvement.
う。そのアイデアを、今は、保留にしましょ
Let's put that idea on hold for now. Let's put that idea on hold for now.
う。このプロジェクトの目標を設定しましょ
Let's set some goals for this project. Let's set some goals for this project.
う。申し訳ありませんが、あなたの話についていけていません。
I'm sorry, but I'm not quite following you. I'm sorry, but I'm not quite following you.
目の前のタスクに集中しましょ
Let's focus on the task at hand. Let's focus on the task at hand.
う。フィードバックをいただけますか
Could you provide some feedback? Could you provide some feedback?
すべてのオプションを検討しましょ
Let's explore all options. Let's explore all options.
う。例を示していただけますか
Could you give us an example? Could you give us an example?
リスクを評価しましょ
Let's evaluate the risks. Let's evaluate the risks.
う。現在の戦略の効果を評価しましょ
Let's evaluate the effectiveness of the current strategy. Let's evaluate the effectiveness of the current strategy.
う。流通チャンネルの状況はどうですか
What's the status of our distribution channels? What's the status of our distribution channels?
申し訳ありませんが、反対せざるを得ません。
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. I'm sorry, but I have to disagree.
私はあなたに同意します。
I agree with you. I agree with you.
申し訳ありませんが、私は異なるアイデアを持っています。
I'm sorry, but I have a different idea. I'm sorry, but I have a different idea.
この問題についても少し詳しく教えていただけますか
Could you provide more details on this issue? Could you provide more details on this issue?
詳細な最新情報を教えていただけますか
Can you give us a detailed update? Can you give us a detailed update?
タスクを適切に割り当てましょ
Let's delegate tasks accordingly. Let's delegate tasks accordingly.
う。決定しましょ
Let's make a decision. Let's make a decision.
う。このプロジェクトの締め切りはいつですか
What's the deadline for this project? What's the deadline for this project?
費用の見積もりを教えていただけますか
Can you give us a cost estimate? Can you give us a cost estimate?
申し訳ありませんが、訂正しなければなりません。
I'm sorry, but I have to correct you. I'm sorry, but I have to correct you.
申し訳ありませんが、他の予定が入ってしまいました。
I'm sorry, but I have a conflicting commitment. I'm sorry, but I have a conflicting commitment.
不安事項に対処しましょ
う。Let's address any concerns. Let's address any concerns.
競合他社の状況はどうですか？
What's the status of our competitors? What's the status of our competitors?
共通の目標に向かって働きましょ
う。Let's work towards a common objective. Let's work towards a common objective.
このプロジェクトに協力しましょ
う。Let's collaborate on this project. Let's collaborate on this project.
その点をもう少し明確に説明していただけますか？
Could you clarify that point, please? Could you clarify that point, please?
その話題は後で改めて取り上げましょ
う。Let's circle back to that topic later. Let's circle back to that topic later.
予算について最新情報を教えていただけますか？
Could you give us an update on the budget? Could you give us an update on the budget?
5分休憩を取りましょ
う。Let's take a 5-minute break. Let's take a 5-minute break.
新しいアイデアをいくつか出してみましょ
う。Let's brainstorm some new ideas. Let's brainstorm some new ideas.
アイデアを出し合いましょ
う。Let's brainstorm some ideas. Let's brainstorm some ideas.
最良のシナリオに備えた計画を立てましょ
う。Let's plan for the best case scenario. Let's plan for the best case scenario.
バックアッププランを考えましょ
う。Let's come up with a backup plan. Let's come up with a backup plan.
バックアッププランがあることを確認しましょ
う。Let's make sure we have a backup plan. Let's make sure we have a backup plan.
バックグラウンド情報を教えていただけますか？
Can you give us some background information? Can you give us some background information?
申し訳ありませんが、この過程に疑問を持っています。
I'm sorry, but I have to challenge this assumption. I'm sorry, but I have to challenge this assumption.
私たちはアプローチを再考する必要があると思います。
I think we need to reconsider our approach. I think we need to reconsider our approach.
データを分析しましょ
う。Let's analyze the data. Let's analyze the data.
みんなが一致していることを確認しましょう。
Let's make sure we're all aligned. Let's make sure we're all aligned.